retarded?
No, I'm not.
Cool. Great job, man. I mean, I thought you were really retarded.
So if you've been on this channel long enough to remember the second Q&A we did, where the WWE Network sent me like a cease and desist because I used footage of Kofi Kingston while talking about like wiping your own ass, go ahead and leave a like on this video. What's up guys, it's Pliskin here and we're doing another Q&A. As you guys know, the output of videos have been a little bit slower recently. That's because I'm just doing a lot more, doing a whole new master's. I actually have like a social life going on, and that's its own crazy kind of ride. But yeah, today we're gonna go through a couple of questions that you guys have asked, and yeah, just have a fun time. So our first question comes from Chico Rico, and he's asking if I've ever played Resident Evil 5 Mercenaries mode.
So check this out. These are my Switch games and they're all categorized by how long I've played, okay? So Resident Evil 5 is all the way up here. And I've only ever played the campaign once. However, it has more playtime than BioShock 2, which I've owned since fucking 2020, Devil May Cry 3, Skyrim, Snake Eater, Fate Stay Night, fucking Catherine, like fucking Minecraft. Like you literally have to be one of the party games that I play to have more time on there than Resident Evil 5. So yeah, I play the shit out of RE5 Mercenaries.
I thought the Covenant had eliminated all the Marine forces in this area.
Alright, now we got a question from Samuel asking, what is one thing I have consistently disliked in every single Metal Gear game? And that's actually a fairly easy question for me to answer. You see, I've always gotten super involved in the stealth mechanics of Metal Gear, in the strong character work of Metal Gear, the themes and ideas, the way it's basically one of the only series that isn't like pro one country or the other, one political leaning or the other, and has a character that kind of stands as like the ultimate rebel of political allegiance in that sort of way. Like what other game has you like going into somewhere and shooting, stabbing, and beating American soldiers to death? Like this just doesn't happen. The Metal Gear series is unique because it really just kind of does what it wants. Leon Wick actually made a pretty good guess saying the tranq pistol, but actually no, there have been times where the tranq pistol has been good. Again, I'm going to bring attention to Ground Zeroes. If there's one thing I have consistently disliked with the Metal Gear series, it's probably been that, like, I'm not going to say Kojima kind of humor, but like Japanese kind of humor. Like the kind of immature sort of haha hee-hees of poop, tits, and piss that you see not just in Metal Gear, but like in a lot of anime as well. I've never found that funny, I've never really found that engaging, and I've always found it to detract from an otherwise really good piece of like media. And that's probably again why I really like Ground Zeroes, because you don't have that weird kind of sense of humor in it, you know? It takes itself seriously outside of a couple like niche gags here and there in the gameplay. Next question is another one from Chico Bico, and he's asking me if I've ever played Killer 7. He wants me to check it out because there's a lot of meme and segue footage for the channel. I want to play Killer 7. Like, I have a Wii that can run GameCube games, and I'm thinking of playing it on there. And I've seen like I've had a lot of opportunities to buy it, but I haven't because like anytime I see footage of the gameplay, I don't know if it looks like it's going to be something I like. Like, is it just one of those artistic kind of games that doesn't really play well, but it's just like artsy fartsy and that's why people like it? 'Cause if that's the case, I don't know if I want to like buy it. I might just watch it on YouTube and then just take whatever clips I want from there. But I appreciate the recommendation either way, and I'll probably check it out in one of those forms. Now we got another question from Leon Wick, and he's asking if I think the Resident Evil series should continue indefinitely or should it get a grand finale similarly to MGS4. I don't think MGS4 should have happened. I think that the Metal Gear series should have actually taken more from Resident Evil, ironically enough. You go close that door. You see, Resident Evil is at its best when each game is its own unique kind of outbreak that a given protagonist has to deal with. You know, you have the core tenets of how it's supposed to play, and then you could put in some weird differences based on the specific scenario or characters. Resident Evil gets to be its worst when it tries to do too much linking together of those stories and do it on too big of a scale. Now, Metal Gear, the first 3 games, even if 1 and 2 kind of mirror each other in a lot of ways, are all their own unique events, loosely connected to a larger set of ties, similar to Resident Evil 1, 2, and 7. Now, these games are really well liked and can stand up really well on their own because they are their own games, their own stories. There's still all the DNA of a Metal Gear game in there, but compare it to something like MGS4, MGS5, or Peace Walker, and they're so dependent on things that have happened in another game that, like, the story gets weighed down by it. And when the story gets weighed down, Metal Gear has always had its gameplay and story very strongly intertwined, so the gameplay also suffers in one way or another, to lesser and greater degrees. But Metal Gear Solid 4 is perhaps the worst example of this. So I hope Resident Evil never has a Metal Gear Solid 4 moment. I hope that, you know, we're going to be making a video in the short future talking about remakes and the natures of, but I hope the Resident Evil series can continue to produce unique scenarios for us to play through that still feel like a Resident Evil game, but don't have to try to tie everything together and just explain the fun out of it, you know? So no, I don't think Resident Evil needs an MGS4. I don't even think MGS needed an MGS4. Now we got a question from Just Derp, who's asking, what's the best video game song parody I've ever heard? And while I did want to say the Legend of Zelda rap by Smosh, I'm gonna have to take another Smosh song just because it's so fucking iconic with the AC3 rap. But yeah, that whole like tomahawk is just so fucking iconic. It takes me right back every single time I listen to this song. So yeah, on that note, any of you guys that grew up watching Smosh, let me know down below because that is era defining.
Dude, your references are out of control. Everyone knows that.
Now our next question comes from Phil, who's asking, what are the best combat sports for someone that has no experience? Okay, there's 2 ways that we can look at this. A combat sport for the sake of sporting, or a combat sport for the sake of self-defense. I'm gonna lean more towards for the sake of sporting, since you're identifying it as a combat sport. And that's pretty easy. It's gonna be Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You're going to be able to work on your flexibility. You can spar with people and put your maximum effort into it, because with grappling, you don't have to worry about punching someone too hard or kicking someone too hard. You're not breaking bones and you're not like knocking out teeth. You're grappling. So you and the other person that you're grappling with understand when too much is too much, you know? So it's a lot easier to be under control. It's a great way to learn the principles of not relying on strength, but more so leverage. It'll definitely get you into shape. I mean, there's a lot of like guys that are out of shape that do it, but it's a really good way to like get more so into shape, to build up that stamina, to build speed, to build coordination, to build that muscle memory. And as you learn more with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, if you start wanting to do judo or another combat sport, you have a really solid foundation there. Now, if you're talking more so about self-defense, that is a whole nother topic, and maybe if you want me to do a video going over that, I've done like some stuff touching on that. But if you want me to look at specific martial arts and give you my opinions on them, let me know. Like Phil, just send me, well, don't send me a message, but like do a comment, and then we can tackle that. But for the sake of being a combat sport, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, no question.
That's it. Oh my God!
And just like that, we're done with another Q&A. I always have a lot of fun doing these. I'll probably put up another like question like box or post for you guys to comment on once I've done a couple more videos, I got a couple ideas in the pipeline. Again, that output is going to be slower because I do have a little bit more of a demanding schedule, in good ways, in bad ways, and a little bit of both ways. But yeah, thank you guys for commenting as usual, and I'll see you guys on the next video.
This is Solid Snake. Hey, subscribe to Pliskin Boy. God damn it.
You heard him.